So we're all live.
We're live and awaiting our members to join us. I love it. Where is it at? There it is right there. Our members to join us. So I'm just sharing this to my feed. We would encourage you to do the same. Goodness. There we go. All right. So we'll just wait a few minutes till everybody has a chance to hop on. We're working on a new start time, 6:15, so that way we could finish up with our patients and clients here in the office and be ready to start on time. And so we would love some feedback from you about the start time of 6:15, if it works, if it doesn't work, and we can alter to make sure that we are taking care of all of you very well. And let us know that you're here and you're watching and where you're watching from so that we can say hello.
Hello.
There's Dr. Sarah. So I shared it to my page.
Awesome.
That we
I
are
shared it to my
the
page.
men in our lives.
Yes.
Yes. Here we go.
Oh,
Getting our little prompts going here so we know who's talking about what.
I still think we need a theme song.
I do not disagree. Someone else I was talking to said we should have a theme song. I think it was my kid Gabe.
Really?
Yeah.
It could be something simple.
Hey Linda, thanks for joining us. We love that you are here every week.
Yes. You're the best.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Looks like we got a really good big class to talk about tonight.
Yep, lots of topics.
Beautiful.
Look who has this one
What?
tonight.
It always works that way. I love it.
Alrighty. Well,
So we get started?
go ahead and get started.
I think we should get started. So welcome everyone to Men's Health 101. You know, we're really honoring the men in our lives this week. You know, we just celebrated Father's Day on Sunday and we're having fun. It's a party. It's totally fine. And you know, as the health and wellness experts here at Get Well Family Chiropractic, you know, we're really humbled and honored and privileged in supporting and educating people through prevention and treatment, you know, and especially, like I said, since we just had Father's Day, we thought what better way to support the men in our lives than to focus this week's class on them. So please take time to reach out to any of the men in your life that you would love to have participate with us tonight who could really benefit from some of the information that we're going to be going over tonight. And if you have any questions or comments along the way, please put them in the comments down below. Again, also make sure you give us some thumbs up or some hearts. Share this to your page so more people know about it. And let's get started.
All right. Great introduction, as always.
Yeah.
So, the fact that men go to the doctor less than women, which we probably all know is true, sadly, could account for men's shorter lifespan. When it comes to seeking care, most men will just brush off their annual visits. But let's just take a little bit of a look at why this might be happening.
Yeah.
So a lot of men report like vague issues, like a busy schedule as to why they're not going to their annual visits. And there might actually be deeper issues at play here. And those can include attitude. So having a macho attitude can account for a lot of missed visits to the doctor. Studies actually reveal a link between self-reported masculinity and resisting routine exams.
Yeah, it's a shame that there is this culture of what masculinity is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
And there's a really big movement now in really addressing that toxic masculinity so that they can feel okay, getting the care that they want.
There is. And another thing that could be what's keeping men from going to the doctor as much as women might be is fear. So a recent study revealed that 20% of men report fearing a poor diagnosis as the main reason for skipping their regular checkups. And another reason could be discomfort. So that lack of enthusiasm for going to screenings and things like that and their annual visits is that they might be uncomfortable with exams. And in particular, rectal exams and other invasive tests are apt to give men hesitation about seeking that preventative care.
Prostate exams and colonoscopies. I don't think anybody likes those.
Yeah. So bottom line, though, there is definitely a link between masculinity and vulnerability. A lot of men wait until symptoms are persistent before they seek medical care, and this can be an unfortunate mistake, as many conditions are preventable and treatable when they're detected early.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
is a really poor attitude.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at some different screening options that are available for early detection.
Yeah. Ooh, I love this one, right? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Yes. So prevention really is the most important facet of maintaining really great health. And, take a gander at, we really can't take a gander. They can't see the statistics, but how about lend an ear to these particular statistics? Only 3 out of 5 men get a yearly checkup. 12% of men over the age of 18 are in only fair to poor health. 40% of men only go to the doctor when they fear a chronic medical condition. And 34% of men over the age of 20 are overweight or obese. So you may not be aware of this, but annual health checkups can help really with that early detection of heart disease and cancer, which are the leading causes of death among men. Sometimes, wow, Dr. Robin's really having an issue with her tongue tonight. Screenings are even available for blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, coronary artery disease, prostate cancer, and colon cancer.
Okay. All right, so a little bit about heart disease risks here. So you might already know that heart disease is the leading cause of death for men in the United States, but did you know that heart disease is actually responsible for 1 in every 4 male deaths?
Wow, that is incredible.
That's a powerful statistic.
Yeah.
So high blood pressure, high LDL cholesterol, and smoking are key risk factors for heart disease. And according to the CDC, about half of Americans, that's 49%, have at least one of these 3 risk factors. And then some other factors putting men at a higher risk of heart disease are diabetes, being overweight, obesity, poor diet, physical inactivity, and excessive alcohol use.
Yeah.
So the best way to really protect against heart disease is through regular screenings of these risk factors, like going in and getting your blood pressure checked and your cholesterol checked annually.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely one of the ways to know if you've got something going on.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you need to know about prostate cancer? Nearly 50% of all men over the age of 50 years have PIN, tiny changes that occur in the shape and size of the prostate gland cells, known as prostatic intraepithelial neoplasia. Prostate cancer can be successfully treated if it is diagnosed before metastasis, which means it's spread to somewhere else. But it is more dangerous if it spreads, most commonly to the bones. So initial screening is just a simple blood test where we check what's called your prostate-specific antigen, or PSA. It is, if an abnormality is found, further examinations may be required or requested, including a digital rectal exam or a biomarker test to check your blood, urine, and body tissues. So risk factors for prostate cancer include anybody over the age of 50, that's a man. At least 60% more common and 2 to 3 times more deadly among African American men than it is non-Hispanic and white men. A diet high in red meat, or a diet high fat dairy products, being obese, and exposure to Agent Orange. That was kind of an interesting one. So we really need to look at all of our men that were in Vietnam.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I had to ask my mom what that was today.
Did you? And that's okay. It's a good conversation then.
All right, so colorectal cancer, which is a collective term that includes both colon cancer and rectal cancer, is the second leading cause of death among American men and women. The American Cancer Society recommends colorectal cancer screening beginning at the age of 45.
God, seems so young, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. So risk factors for colorectal cancer can include age. So most cases occur after the age of 50. Anyone with a family history of it should be screened earlier than that, though. And already having cancer in other areas or in that area increases the risk of having it again. Inflammatory bowel disease can increase the risk. Drinking more than 2 alcoholic beverages per day.
What?
Right?
I'm just joking.
Obesity, smoking, diabetes, and a high-fat diet with the fat coming mostly from meat. So thankfully, colorectal cancer is usually preventable with screening, which should start at age 45, like we said. And options for screening include a stool-based test and structural examinations, such as a colonoscopy.
Nice. Very nice. Ashley, thanks for joining us. It's good to see you on tonight. All right, so men, how do we protect yourself from skin cancer? So older men are twice as likely to develop melanoma than women of the same age. In fact, by age 80, men are 3 times more likely than women in that age group to develop melanoma. Men are also 2 to 3 times more likely to get non-melanoma basal cell or squamous cell skin cancers than women. One reason behind the difference may be due to men knowing less about skin cancer and the fact that men are less likely to use sunscreen. Additionally, men have thicker skin with less fat beneath, possibly making men's skin more likely to be damaged by the sun's ultraviolet rays. Melanoma is the most serious form of skin cancer. However, early detection is key to treatment. And we're going to post a video in the comments to help you with the early detection of skin cancer. So that way you can know too.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Let's get that posted before I forget.
Yeah, let's do that before we move forward. There we go.
All right.
Excellent. Perfect. Yeah, so if you want to see that video on how to help with early detection, go for it and watch it. And let us know in the comments what you think after you watch it.
Alrighty. So the risk for hypertension or high blood pressure increases as we get older. And would you believe that 1 in 3 Americans have high blood pressure?
What?
Yeah. In fact, over half of all Americans age 60 and older have it. And over a lifetime, the risk of developing high blood pressure becomes 90%.
Wow.
The risk in men getting it increases with age and begins to climb when a man hits age 45. And high blood pressure is especially dangerous because people can have it for years without even knowing it, which that's why those regular screenings that we talked about are so important.
Yeah.
So factors leading to high blood pressure include a high salt diet, low potassium, too much alcohol, lack of physical activity, obesity, and a family history of that hypertension, high blood pressure. The screening is very simple for high blood pressure.
Yeah.
It's just diagnosed using the familiar blood pressure test that involves a cuff wrapped around your arm and just taking your blood pressure.
Yeah, you know, and a lot of the, I want to say like Walgreens or Sam's Club or maybe even CVS, some of the grocery stores. I know the YMCA has it.
Yeah.
It's a little chair you sit in and you put your arm in,
and
they'll take your blood pressure for you. Yeah, so you can check it as
free.
regularly as you want. And it's something that we have the ability to check regularly here too.
Yes.
So when you're in the office, if you're unclear and you want to know, you know, we're more than happy to check the blood pressure for you.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, so wait.
Here, talking about what is regular.
Okay, so the screening is really simple.
Yep.
So normal blood pressure is considered to be anything below 120/80. So we're going to be below 120 on that top number, and then below 80 on bottom number. And elevated blood pressure is defined as the systolic reading, or the top number, being between 120 and 129, and then the diastolic or bottom number still being lower than 80. But then hypertension and high blood pressure is defined as the blood pressure of 130/80 or higher in either of those numbers.
Yeah.
And hi, May. Thanks for watching.
Hi, May. All right, let's touch on a little bit of cholesterol, right? Because there's a lot of information out there about cholesterol. So cholesterol is necessary, right, for the body to perform vital functions such as produce hormones, vitamin D, bile acids to help you digest your fats. However, too much of the wrong kind of cholesterol is bad news. So there's two types of cholesterol: low density lipoproteins, or the LDLs, and the high density lipoproteins, the HDLs. LDL is responsible for blocking the arteries through a buildup of those fatty deposits that are called plaques. Now, there has to be a lot of inflammation, chronic inflammation present within the blood vessel walls themselves to allow those LDLs to get in there, which is a pretty common experience for most of us right now, as we've got a lot of internal inflammation, when we actually talked about that several weeks ago. This plaque buildup can block the blood flow to the heart muscle, reducing the oxygen supply and leading to a stroke or heart attack. HDL is the good cholesterol, right, which helps to remove the LDL from the blood and eventually from the body. So risk factors for high cholesterol include a diet high in saturated fats or trans fats, high processed foods and carbohydrates, and I would even say processed meats, your lunch meats and hot dogs and smoked sausages and things like that. Clearly being overweight or obese, and definitely a lack of exercise is going to lend to having more cholesterol. The other thing I'm going to add there that we don't have on the list is having high blood sugar. If you're consuming a lot of sugar, extra added sugars, you have high blood sugar, a lot of that sugar then gets turned into fat. And then the fat and the inflammation occur, and then we have more cholesterol in our body. So annual blood testing will screen you for high cholesterol. It should be started at the age of 35 for men. And again, that is a service that we provide for our patients.
Sure is.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for joining us.
So, did you know that men develop diabetes slightly more often, more frequently than women do? According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, 14% of adult men in the United States have been diagnosed with diabetes, and that's compared with 11% of women. So general symptoms of pre-diabetes include skin infections that just won't heal, excessive tiredness, poor dental health.
Oh, which relates to so many things.
Inability to attain or sustain an erection, overactive bladder, and blurred vision. And men generally don't seek attention for these things until they have full-blown diabetes, which is just not what we want. This is a big mistake.
Yes.
Early detection and lifestyle changes make it so much easier and quicker to reverse pre-diabetes before you get to that point of type 2 diabetes and have to start taking medication and really watching like completely cutting out
Everything,
sugars
right?
and just everything like that's crazy. So the American Diabetes Association recommends all patients undergo diabetes screening at 3-year intervals, beginning at age 45, and that's especially people who are overweight or obese. When multiple risk factors are present like this, screening should be done at an earlier age and more frequently.
Yeah.
And a fasting plasma glucose test is typically what they use for screening for diabetes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's talk a little bit about eye health, right? Because this is something that a lot of people don't talk about until all of a sudden they can't start seeing and they go to the eye doctor. Right. So glaucoma is a very serious condition that can lead to permanent blindness within just a few years without treatment. And there are typically no symptoms. However, only an eye doctor can diagnose and treat glaucoma before the long-term visual loss happens. This is why you should get your complete eye exam yearly, right? Even if you don't need glasses, or if you just wear those little reader cheaters, you should still have an eye exam for your eye health. Eye tests for glaucoma are based on age and personal risk. So under 40, they're suggesting every 2 to 4 years, 40 to 54 every 1 to 3 years, 55 to 64 every 1 to 2 years, and clearly our older folks 65 and over every 6 to 12 months, because things can deteriorate quite rapidly when we get a little older.
All right, a little bit about testosterone.
Woohoo,
here.
the almighty testosterone.
So testosterone is the primary sex hormone in men, and it plays various roles throughout their bodies and our bodies.
In ours too, yeah, for sure. But we're talking about men tonight, not us.
This is about the men. So levels of testosterone gradually drop in men as a natural part of aging. The decline could start in the 30s with a reduction of 1% a year starting at age 45. 1 in 4 men between the ages of 30 and 79 experience low testosterone levels. Testosterone deficiency in men is associated with several serious health problems, and those include musculoskeletal problems like osteopenia, which is a loss in that kind of bone density, and then sarcopenia, which is a loss of muscle mass. It is also present with obesity, unhealthy cholesterol levels like we were talking about, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. So screening for testosterone levels isn't normal routine, but if you experience the following, you might want to request a blood test just to check your levels. So increased body fat, decreased strength or mass of muscles, fragile bones, decreased body hair, swelling or tenderness in the breast tissue, hot flashes, increased fatigue, effects on cholesterol metabolism, low sex drive, and difficulty with erections. Difficulty with erections,
yes.
And probably emotions too.
You know, and this is actually, I have a patient right now that we're dealing with a lot of this, and so we changed up his diet dramatically. He's in his 50s. And we put him on some supplements. And, you know, the one thing that he really mentioned last week was that his hot flashes that he was having, waking up in the middle of the night just drenched in sweat, is really pretty much gone. So, you know, screening for these things and asking questions about these symptoms, there's a lot of things that can be done before it becomes a disease. And, you know, testosterone is really important for our men, you know, that we love. As they age, it keeps them healthy, it keeps them vivacious. So you know, don't be afraid to ask questions of your doctors at all, you know. All right, so screening review. Gentlemen, here are the things that you should be checking on a regular basis, annually. After the age of 50, have your prostate checked. After the age of 45, let's check for colorectal cancer. Let's always check for skin cancer and high blood pressure. And of course, starting with at age 35 for cholesterol. Now, diabetes screenings at 3-year intervals beginning at the age of 45. Glaucoma screening, like we just said, under 40 every 2 to 4 years. 40 to 54, 1 to 3. 55 to 64 every 1 to 2 years. And anybody over 64 every 6 months or so.
All right. So lifestyle factors like smoking, poor diet, unhealthy weight, inactivity, overuse of alcohol, and stress are all linked to increased risks of these negative health consequences that we've been talking about during this class. It's also important to be aware that severe motor vehicle accidents are higher among men. So it's important to really drive safely, wear a seatbelt all the time, and follow the speed limit. Also, do not drive when under the influence of substances or while you're sleepy.
Yeah.
And suicide is also another leading men's health risk and is attributed mostly to depression. Anyone feeling sad or worthless and a loss of interest in normal activities should talk to a doctor right away.
Right away, yeah. You know, because those are not normal things. And, you know, I think this is we were talking earlier about the toxic masculinity and this need to be macho. And,
right.
You know, if there's nothing wrong, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Just simply not acknowledging what's really happening, you know, with our men, you know, and women, you know, we're here to take care of them and they're here to take care of us. So, you know, for the women out there that are listening, you know, look for these things in the men that you love. And, you know, if you're uncomfortable trying to figure out how to have a conversation with them, you know, feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of great ways to, or if you have a counselor or your doctor, there might be a way to bridge the gap in, you know, helping the men that we love lead healthy lifestyles. So prevention strategies, yay! Many of the risk factors associated with the negative health outcomes that Dr. Sarah just mentioned are truly manageable, right? Through lifestyle and behavior changes. And guess what? The rest of the class is going to be dedicated to discussing those strategies, right? So we talked about the problem. We talked about the screening. Now we're going to get into the juicy stuff on how to help prevent these things from happening. Strategies to change those poor habits.
Time to quit smoking.
Yes, it is.
The CDC reports cigarette smoking is the leading preventable cause of death in the United States. Smoking increased the risk for coronary heart disease by 2 to 4 times, the risk for stroke by 2 to 4 times, and the risk of men developing lung cancer by 25 times.
I just don't understand why people smoke anymore. I really don't.
I know.
And that's just me being judgmental. So I apologize if you smoke. Quit.
So smoking causes stroke and coronary heart disease, like we said there. It damages blood vessels and can make the blood vessels thicken and grow narrower. And it causes most cases of lung cancer, plus other cancers, almost anywhere in the body. No good. So the good news is that quitting smoking cuts cardiovascular risks a
That's
lot.
just amazing. I love that.
Yeah, that you're not completely ruined.
Yeah.
So in just 2 to 5 years after quitting smoking, your risk for stroke can reduce by to about that of a non-smoker's. And if you quit smoking, your risks for cancers of the mouth, throat, esophagus, and bladder drop by half within 5 years. And 10 years after you quit smoking, your risk for lung cancer drops by half.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And if you're struggling to quit smoking, you can check out this handy resource guide to help you create your quit plan. So I'm going to post a link to that in the comments as well.
Awesome.
And there's also a free app that can help you quit smoking.
Oh, that's cool. There's an app for that.
We can give that to one of our patients.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm going to post a link to both of those now in the comments.
Your dad says, great job.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
Happy Father's Day.
Right? Totally. All right. So clearly we know, eat your veggies, right? And the thing really is you've got to eat a rainbow of vegetables, you know, just like we've got on the slide there. Colorful diet. and raw if you can. And, you know, there's a lot of education that can go around, you know, how to buy vegetables and prepare vegetables. You know, there's the Dirty Dozen list and there's the Clean 15 list. If you want to know more about what that means, you know, shoot us a comment and I'll post some stuff in the comments. You know, also limit or avoid some animal products, focusing and including your vegetables, your fruits, your whole grains, legumes, seeds, and nuts. Exclude the refined foods with added sugars, white flour, processed oils. We talked about processed meats a little bit ago as well. So yeah, so eat the rainbow, and I don't mean Skittles.
So let's talk for just a minute about body mass index, or BMI, which is calculated from our height and weight. So you are considered underweight if your BMI is below 18.5. 18.5 to 24.9 is a normal BMI. 25 to 29.9 is overweight, and then anything over 30 is considered to be obese. So according to the CDC, men who are obese are at a higher risk for heart attack, stroke, type 2 diabetes, some types of cancers, depression, and many other problems. And it's really important to manage your weight for disease prevention, to stay away from any of these problems. And so eating better and being physically active are the main keys to achieving a healthy BMI.
I want to insert just something on BMI here too. So when we're talking about your BMI, we're talking about regular people, right? Bodybuilders, people that lift heavy weights all the time as their job, because they're going to have this massive amount of weight, but it's all muscle. So trying to track their BMI is not applicable in this sense. So we're really talking about people like you and I, and tracking BMI that way.
Right. Since it's literally only calculated from your height and your weight.
Yeah.
So I'm going to post another link in the comments, which is going to take you to a BMI calculator, and you can just go there and see where you fall on the chart. Yeah, the numbers that we just threw out there.
Beautiful. I love all these resources we're posting. All right, get moving, folks, right? Put on some dance music, party music, run music. Physical activity, without a doubt, is the key to health and to longevity. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services provides science-based guidelines to help children and adults in the United States improve their health through appropriate physical activity. So recommendations state that adults should do at least 150 minutes, or 2 hours and 30 minutes, a week of moderate, intense activity, or 75 minutes, 1 hour and 15 minutes a week of vigorous intensity, aerobic activity, or an equivalent combination of moderate and vigorous intensity aerobic activity. Oh my gosh. So that is a lot. So aerobic activity, right? What does that mean? That means you're utilizing oxygen when you're exercising. So things like walking, running, exercise classes, step aerobics, right? Swimming, performed episodes of at least 10 minutes, and preferably should be spread throughout the week. And then when you're looking at, well, Dr. Sarah, what does moderate intensity mean, and what does vigorous intensity mean? Well, most of us now have these fancy watches, right, that can measure heart rate and things like that. So in my opinion, and I may be wrong, so you guys can look this up, but I think that your moderate activity is somewhere between 115 beats a minute and probably 125 beats a minute. So you should be able to walk vigorously, maybe break a little bit of a sweat down your back, but still have a conversation with the person next to you. Your intense, vigorously intense, is going to be anything over like 130, 135, 140 beats a minute, and you're hitting a top out. I know, well, my personal top out is about 155, and I think I'm going to fall to the floor when I hit that. So that would be something vigorous. So if you're watching your heart rate and you're basing your exercise on heart rate, you could kind of use those guidelines. Adults should increase their aerobic activity, physical activity, to 300 minutes a week, or 150 minutes a week of vigorous activity if you want even additional, more health benefits. Muscle strengthening activities that are moderate or high intensity improve all major muscle groups, at 2 or more days a week, and should be incorporated for optimal health outcomes. So a balance of both aerobic and muscle building, because the more muscle you have, the more fat you're going to burn, the more energy you're going to have. It's really kind of this really awesome process when you're building muscle up.
For sure.
Yeah.
And adding to what you were saying about the watches, so Dr. Robin has an Apple Watch.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a Fitbit, and I know on the Fitbit, I think the moderate would be considered as active minutes.
Okay.
Like active, how long you were in that
that
heart rate.
Yeah.
And then the more vigorous is cardio.
Oh, fun. Okay, so
the
there we go. We have a couple of different ways to look at it. So just find out which one works for you.
Right. Okay, so drinking alcohol should be done in moderation.
Yes.
For men under 65, no more than 2 drinks per day should be consumed, and men over 65 should limit that daily intake to 1 a day.
Sorry about that distraction.
And did you guys know that alcohol intake has been linked to the risk of various types of cancer, like liver cancer, obviously. Yeah. And it appears to increase with the amount of alcohol that you drink and the length of time that you've been drinking regularly. Too much alcohol can also raise your blood pressure.
And your blood sugar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look out for stress. Look out. Stress is a major contributor to many poor health outcomes that we've discussed today. And, in this world that we live in, we're under more stress and pressure than we have ever been before. We all know that stress is bad for the heart. It leads to poor eating choices, poor drinking choices. It causes fat accumulation around the belly, and type 2 diabetes. So stress is also linked to mental health concerns such as anxiety and depression. So it's really important to include stress reducing activities like breathing exercises, physical activity, your exercise. Try to incorporate those things into your daily routines. Also, too, one of our favorite stress busting activities is listening to specific frequencies of sounds that will bring the brain out of its high stress wavelength and into a very relaxed, more calming wavelength. You can find them free on YouTube. You just want to put in your search bar 528 hertz or 432 hertz. Those are our 2 favorites. There are hertz on the whole range of things. You can kind of pick the ones that work best for you. And a 20-minute session a day is really what we recommend. A lot of times I'll put it on right before I go to bed, and it'll just play all night long while I'm sleeping. It's some of the best sleep I get.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, so that is all of the information that we have for you guys today. Yay. And if you would like to access any of the resources that we use to put this class together, you can feel free to reach out to us or just write in the comments and we can send them your way.
Absolutely. We're more than happy to do that. And as always, I get the thank you. Dr. Sarah and I so appreciate you joining us tonight. We know you have many other choices of places to be, things that you could be doing, and you chose to spend some time with us. And we truly are grateful and appreciate that you allowed us to be with you this evening. We hope that this, after this class, that everyone has a better understanding of what men's health encompasses and how to limit your risks and how to put some prevention activities into your life. Living a healthy lifestyle really isn't always easy, right? But it doesn't mean that it's not worth trying. And nobody's perfect. So just remember, the key to reducing risk is making better choices each and every day. And if you guys have any questions to finish off this class, please go ahead and type them into the comments now. We're more than happy to have a discussion. We will not be having a Facebook Live class next week, right? But we will be back in July with a class called Your Diet and Your Skin. We thought going would be a great idea to talk about skin health. And then it's going to be Tuesday, July 7th. It's going to be at 6:15. And we hope that we'll see you there. Remember, you can always find the Facebook Live videos after the fact on our Get Well Family Chiropractic Facebook page, as well as over on our YouTube channel, Dr. Robin Lawrence. And we'll post the link to our YouTube channel in the comments here too. So thank you and good night. Right? There's our theme song. Maybe we can work on a theme song next week.
Yeah.